Hello and welcome, my name is Ahura, and this is my Let's Play series of Europa Universalis IV, where we are once again playing as Brandenburg into Prussia. So, last episode we had a little war going on with the Teuton Order, got Neumark for ourselves, and now we are trying to get our way into the seat of the Holy Roman Empire, which so far is going pretty good. We have 3 votes so far. Which is what we need. So now all we need is the Austrian king to die. Are you dying soon? No, you're not. Well, as long as he's not dying soon, probably should do something different. I think we are doing something with Lübeck for a mission, so we might as well finish that. I think I'm gonna pull this guy back from the Palatinate and send him to the Saxony, just to raise their feelings about me a little bit as well. Besides, I think you're at 132. We did get an extra amount of, or was it the Saxony? One of these guys we got some extra points for because we got some administrative help. Anyways, let's just go on. I think the next target will be Pomerania. As I've already talked about, we need Kolbe Stolp we need Stolp, and there's a mission to take Kolbe and Stolp. If I can get it, I would also like Stettin, since it's a nice trading port, so we can get some more trading power into Lübeck. Ooh. Burgundy was just inherited it. That was too bad. If we had been the emperor before that happened, we would have gotten all that. Oh. Also, that means Austria will be big and powerful and annoying to deal with. So that's bad luck. Still can't afford more advisors. Basically just waiting for this Lucca mission, I think. Yeah, now people really like Austria because they got... Probably just because they got the large alliance thing. Also, they got quite a lot of imperial authority now. So, that also means we have to chill a little bit if we want to become the emperor, because aggressive expansion will of course hurt our relations with these guys, and we need relations to making them vote for us. But something happened, the Renaissance. Since the 14th century, the wealthy and powerful in the Italian city-states have been patronizing artists and scholars willing to explore the old Roman and Greek societies of their forefathers. As a cultural movement, the Renaissance already encompasses most of the region and has a profound impact on literature, art, philosophy and music. Humanist scholars are also analyzing the society in which they live, comparing it to the ideals of the classical philosophers. At the turn of 1450, Renaissance humanism has grown into a more mature movement, ready to permeate all aspects of society. A new ideal for rulers, as well as those who ruled, is spreading as quickly as the early printers can distribute copies of these new ideas. A true Renaissance humanist is an expert on everything from politics and philosophy to art, textual analysis, music and architecture. The Renaissance is now ready to reshape the world to better fit its classical ideals. So, the first institution, or the second institution happened, the first new one to us. Renaissance just hit, so where did it go? Let's just find that out. Let's just go to the technology and the... So Renaissance hit in Venice. That means that rest of Venice, if we go and look at it, will be getting a pretty quick spread of 2 per month. And they said how much is out? Probably out of 100, I would guess. Must be something like that. So let's look at our spread. So in Berlin, almost nothing. So what can we do? Well, European tin development provinces get 0.5, nearby provinces get a half, adjacent provinces get 0.3, nearby friendly provinces that is, and from what I gather, the nearby friendly provinces and the adjacent provinces, they are exclusive, so mutually exclusive. So if you have a nearby province that you are not friends with, it's 0.3. If you have a friendly, it's 0.5, so one is better than the other. Then, of course, if you get post 1500, the 5 development provinces also get something, and if you have a 20 development province, it gives something. Let's just see if we can add the technology map mode to one of these. Wonder where they put it. Probably already missed it. No, it's not that one. It must be called institutions or something. There it is. So, you can see it is spreading in Berlin and Potsdam, because they're the only two that have modern tin development. So, if we wanted it to spread more quickly to our nation, we could add some development to these 3 provinces to make them tin development. I would like to have tech first though. And since it's only gonna be 1% per year, it doesn't really make sense to spend that many points. So, as an example, I could spend 57 points here, but that would correspond to, let me just look at this. So, 57 points would be 9.5% of a tech. So, well, it actually makes, if you can do it within a few points of development, it might make sense to boost your provinces. Because it doesn't, the tech penalty doesn't have to rise higher than 10 for it to actually matter. But it hasn't really done anything yet, so I don't want to go mad about it. I would rather get the first tax, and then once the tech penalty begins to rise, maybe we'll do something. In the future, though, if we do need to make any kind of investment into development, it might be wise to make sure that all of our provinces are tech or development 10 before we start developing anyone further. Maybe even having one with development 20. And now you might be asking, why not just put all our eggs into one basket and get Berlin to 20 development to get that extra bonus? Well, it isn't enough to have Berlin. I think we've already talked about this, but I'll just show you again. If we want to embrace Renaissance, we have to pay money, and we have to pay money for each province that haven't got it yet. Of course, getting it to one province means it's spread faster to the others, but I don't necessarily think that with this first institution that we can really get it to spread that much faster. It'll spread to these provinces, then it will spread to Austria, then it will spread to Bohemia, and then to us. So I'm not gonna worry about it just yet, but we are definitely gonna keep an eye on it, as well as how much our tech increases. And speaking of tech, let's get some. No, let's just wait until we get the 5% discount. I'm not really that much in need of marketplaces right now. I would really like another. One thing we didn't talk about yet, so we can talk about while the time is running. It's a new function that's called debase currency. I've talked about it in my. Let's wait for a little bit with this. I talked about it in the video about the patch. Debase currency is a new thing made for the corruption mechanic. And personally, at least for the games I've been playing so far, it might be different in parts of the world where you can't get ahead of time in technology, but I haven't had that many problems with corruption. I feel like it's pretty easy to keep down. But now you get a new mechanic that you can use your corruption for, and that is debasing your currency. This is basically the same as taking a loan, except that instead of paying the money back and paying interest, you just pay 2% of your, or you just pay 2% corruption. So I can basically take a 35 ducat loan that I never have to pay back. I just have to pay it back in corruption. So if you are in very low corruption and ahead of time in tech, it might make sense to do some debased currency just to make that tech modifier work for you. And of course, if you're in a jam, it might make sense to do this instead of taking a loan. So it's definitely something we'll be thinking about. I don't want to do it right now because we're not ahead of time, and we only have the incorruptible. It doesn't really make sense to take out a loan to pay it back into root out corruption. So anyway, we've got the Sale of Titles event. My lord, one of your advisors has suggested selling off titles of nobility to anyone who can afford it. It would bring in lots of money and open the way for societal advancement for the rich if we do, but it would devaluate the idea of nobility and perhaps unset the existing aristocratic families should we do this. So we can gain a very small amount of money, or we can gain stability. And it would make the burghers mad at us for a tiny amount of time, but we don't make any money from trade, so high stability by burghers. Could we take one of those provinces away from the... just gonna check. This one is... if you took this one away, they would be down to 13%. We then give it this one instead. Probably rather take this one away from them since... yeah, I think we're gonna take this one away from them and give them this one instead. And it's basically the same. Well, did they get a little bit less influence? I'm not really sure. Well, but we're actually really close to this. So I think I will have to take this from them. Well, I guess I'll have to take this from them then. Which made them illoyal, but there's nothing we can do right now. We simply have too little to work with in the estate department, so we'll just have to live with it for a little bit so we don't suffer that coup. And once this has ticked down a little bit, how much does it even need to tick down? We have the granted generalship, which will expire in 4 years, so I actually have to live with it for a couple years, I think. That sucks. Hunting accident. Well, Aya dies, and I don't want to lose that stability I just got, so I guess we'll... oh, well. I hope we get a new one, though. Oh, we'll soon get a new personality trait. That's exciting. Hopefully it's getting a new sound quickly trait. Oh, we can get the tech now with the bonus, and we should probably... I'm just gonna raise it to half maintenance instead of raising it all the way up. And then we're just gonna wait. And Byzantium was taken over. Oh, we got industrial, got goods produced, modifier +10. Not gonna make a huge difference for us, but it's at least not a negative trait, so... And they make Constantinople the capital, and this just check. That makes Constantinople the greatest city on Earth, right? 34? Yes. Wonder if you can see this. So Renaissance here. It doesn't spread any quicker because it's above 20, so... at least for Renaissance it seems that spread cannot It doesn't make sense to have more than 20 development if you want to increase spread, so that's interesting. So, we have a little bit of extra diplomatic power, and we're not going to use it, at least not for ideas. So I think I'm going to invest in some production in these two provinces. As far as I remember, it's also going to get a tiny amount of trade value and trade goods and trade stuff. Plus, it's the points I'm not going to be using. Military and administrative will be the first ideas I pick. So let's just add. Let's add it over here with the least autonomy. And it is now a 10 province or 10 development province, so it's also growing the institution. Very nice. I think I'm gonna do this to all of the ones that are 9 already. Well, these two. Just to get it growing in some more provinces, so once it gets here, it spreads quickly. Rival of our rival. So let's get this Pomeranian succession thing going. Except, if we choose this, we'll get 2 claims, which means that the third claim will be more expensive. So let's get the claim first. Basically, if you haven't been playing the last patch, they changed it around. So you no longer claim provinces the way you used to do. So basically, for those of you who are not familiar with this game at all, I should probably have talked about that from the start of the game when we went to our first war, but in Europa Universalis you can't just declare wars because you feel like it. You have to have a reason for war, a so-called casus belli, and we're just gonna wait for the 5% here as well, since we're not in a war anyway. And one of the casus belli is if you have a claim on a province. A claim is basically just some papers that states that you have the right to that province, and it's not supposed to convince the people you are taking it over from. It's just supposed to convince your own people, so you can kind of justify taking them out of their homes and marching them towards the enemy. So that's what we send our diplomats out to do. It used to be from the start of the game that you would just send them and they would make the claim and they would come back and then you send them off again to do that all over again. But now you build up a spy network and then you spend some of that spy network. At the start of the last patch it cost 10 power to do it, and that was it. Now it costs 20 and it increases by 5 for each claim. Which is adding a lot of battles to that, to be honest. It was just way too easy to be able to fabricate for 10, basically. So, yeah, we need to have 20 power, then we claim Stettin, then we get the 2 other claims for free, and then we are ready to go. Hopefully by then this rebels will have fired. How are we doing? Still on our force limit. And I just want to check in with here. We're talking 30, almost 55 actually. So 3.5 years. So it's gonna be a while before we can give it a province. Oh, that's a nice air. A 5-3-2. It's gonna be a little rough on the military points, but I can definitely get by with this. What do we want to call him? Do we want him to just be Joachim, Friedrich, Joachim? Let's just have him be Joachim. I don't really care that much. But of course we'll need to keep our own ruler around for 15 years. Except we also have a consort, so we just have to keep either our ruler or our consort around for 15 years, and we're just rocking. Ooh, almost. And bam. Let's get this claim going. We want it on Stettin. Again, I want it on Stettin because they have the estuary where it gets extra trade power. And we take this Pomeranian succession. And we now have 3 claims on them. And they are allied with Lunenburg and Oldenburg. Let's just get this guy home. Also, I want to check. Probably check send. Oh, stupid Austria getting everyone to vote for you. I'm just gonna call you home and send one guy to the Palatinate. It's gonna be tricky to get this now. Can possibly get Cologne on our side, but it's gonna be difficult if we also want to take some land. Anyhow, let's put our guys to full maintenance because I want to go to war with Pomerania. I can't get anyone to help me. I'm gonna Sorry, I'm gonna declare this war for Stolp, I think. And I think we will do it, but it will have to be in the next video. So, if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. Hope to see you next time, where we will start our second war. Bye bye.